All right, 7th grade, so you just learned how to overstitch, but I'm gonna show you a video on how to start your practice. Remember, your practice will be a classwork grade, so you wanna make sure you're doing a really great job on it using excellent craftsmanship. Each of you will have a little piece of square burlap that looks something like this. You will go and grab some yarn from the back of the room when I call you by table. The yarn should be no longer than your arm span, so if you stretch it out in between your two hands across your body, that's how much yarn you're gonna need. And every table will have a bucket with these materials. You will have quite a few of these little paper folded threaders. You will also have a foam piece with 4 needles in it and 2 pairs of scissors. Your buckets, just a heads up, will need to look like this before we head down to lunch. So the first thing you're going to do, and this is a bit of a review because we did this for our sketchbooks or our art journals at the beginning of the year, is you will take your thread and you need to thread the needle first. So you will take your thread inside of the little paper fold, make sure it's clasped around the yarn, and then you will just thread it through the eye of the needle. Once you're done with the little paper, it needs to go back in the box so that you always have it. After you have a threaded needle, next thing you need to do is tie off a double knot at the end. And now you're ready to sew. So I'm gonna fold my burlap square into, or just by in half. And your goal is to sew at least 3 sides. So I would suggest you sew the open sides because that's what you're gonna be doing with your pillow. So I'm gonna start from one corner. And just like in the video, you can start from the inside so that it hides your knot. And continue completing the overstitch, which I will not show you, but I did want to give you a heads up. Please make sure you're doing each stitch very nice and tight, but you're also not going too far in, especially as we're making pillows. We want to make sure our thread isn't going into the middle of our fabric because that will ruin our design and the shape of the sugar skull. So I went ahead and finished my sewing. I wanted to show you the difference between what to do versus what to not do. So down here at the bottom, you can see that my stitches are very close together, very tight, and very secure. But as I moved along this side, I kind of got a little careless. I started going in more. I even did like another kind of stitch over up here. Just making sure you're staying consistent. That's what you're gonna be graded on, so that when you flip your pillow inside out and we stuff it, that there's no possible way that stuffing will come out. So practice makes perfect, and we wanna make sure we're doing the best job. Now to end, when you have made your way all the way to the end with perfect overstitch technique, you are going to tie it off by simply threading your needle a little bit, not pulling it all the way through, and then tying a knot. So you're just gonna place your needle through the circle that you've created and tie a knot. I do 2 just to be safe. And then you can simply cut off the extra yarn. And then you'll have your little practice sewing that you will turn in. I will give you some masking tape where you will put your first and last name, and then you will turn it into the Office Depot tray at the front of the room.